What is going on, guys? We are sitting out here with the old S-Mans on a hot and sunny day. The weather is fixing to get hot, and you know what is getting ready to happen? These gauges are going to come out of the van, and they're going to be pumping that liquid gold out of that big green cylinder and that big pink cylinder into those systems, especially if you were working on a Linux, because you know it's leaking. Had to get a jab at Linux. But anyway, guys, whenever we are getting geared up for a season, that is the time that I like to do some videos on checking your equipment, checking your calibration, on your temperatures, your pressures. You know, I've got a lot of videos. You can go back through some of my stuff and find plenty of videos on stuff like this, you know, showing the clamps in an ice bath, how to do that. I've got some videos on your meter, checking your meter leads, make sure they're okay and ready to head out there and check some units. And apparently, I just now realized I color coded my brewski to my gauges. Who knew? Everything is black and yellow. Heck yeah, Fieldpiece. Throw me a bone. So anyway, guys, this is going to be the one video that you're going to watch on some digital gauges, and we're not even going to turn these things on. Nah, we'll turn them on just so you can see them in all their glory. But that is not what the video is about. The video is about this right here, guys. Oh, look at that right there. Cord management. Okay, I'm not a big baller. I just started using digital gauges here very recently. You guys that know me know that I'm a big fan of analog. There is nothing at all wrong with using analog as long as you are accurate, you keep them calibrated, you don't contaminate your refrigerants and mix up 410A and 22. Analog is fine. So I'm kind of new to digital myself, but I'm not fancy enough to have like the wireless pipe clamps that Fieldpiece makes. That's real nice for the new 380s and the 480Vs. You can hook up your wireless pipe clamps and eliminate your cords, and you know, then they're real nice and clean and stored away. Everything's real nice and convenient. You don't have anything in your way. That's most guys' complaints with these cords, is there's just so much to get in the way. So one of the really nice improvements that they made on the new series of S-Mans, you don't have the cord connection up in the front anymore. They really did a great job in storing that away back there on the back. And that way they lay flat down, you know, on top of a unit. Nothing's going to be getting in the way. They have a center thermocouple which comes with these things. You know, the pipe clamps and this thermocouple come with these manifolds. And I have that bead tucked away down in there. I have that on my yellow hose. I took some small little 4-inch wire ties and brought it down there about a foot or so. And that thing kind of dangles right there off the back side of my yellow hose. And that has always given me my ambient temperature right up there on the top. And then your two pipe clamps, of course, are the ones, the next two down. So on my particular setup, I really like the Yellow Jacket ball valves in this application. I'm using a low loss fitting here. That's actually a JB hose, because the knurled fitting is smaller than the Yellow Jacket, so you can get into tighter places. I've also got a video on those JB hoses. So I choose to have that right there for my yellow hose. And then my ball valves, these are the 60-inch, the 5-foot ball valves from Yellow Jacket. So anyway, mainly what we're talking about is this right here. That's where the magic is happening, guys. you can see how nice and bundled up that cord is, because everybody just wants to smash those things up. They smash them together, they stick a wire tie or a piece of Velcro around it, they wrap the cord around the clamp and store it that way with it all wrapped up and crammed up in the handle, and all you're doing is making a mess out of your cord. You're eventually going to get a short or a broken place to where whenever you move this thing around, your temperatures are going to go all wonky and you're going to think your big fancy manifolds are screwed up, but it's not. It's just your cord, because you've had poor storage and you've created a broken place in that wire. But here is the best way I have found to do this. These are little cord clips. I think that's the name on the thing, cord clip. Cable clip. Yeah, that's it. Cable clip. And they make these in 2 different sizes. You can see I'm Mr. Fancy. I even color coded my clip. We're sticking with that yellow theme here, baby, because that's how Shannon rolls. But you can see there are 2 sizes. That is a slightly larger one, and these are the 2 smaller ones. They make them in all different kinds of colors. If you got a favorite football team, we love to cheer for the Big Orange where I'm from, but we also love to hate them because they have not had a good year in a while. But anyway, that's not what we're talking about, but you can color coordinate to your favorite team there. This size right here, if that's all you can find, that would be okay. But these small ones work absolutely perfect. I found these at my local Home Depot. I will kind of pause on this right here. If you guys want to take a screenshot or something of that, you can show the person out at Home Depot and say, hey, take me to where those are, because I need some of those, because they're kind of hard to find. But those work out perfect. That smaller size is all you need to bundle right around that cord. And see, this is what's going to happen right here when you store these things. Look at that. That's going to come out like a slinky. All right? You are going to be able to get down to your unit, put it wherever you need it. That's going to give you plenty of room. But that thing is always going to go right back into that same position. It's going to basically keep that memory if you keep it coiled up like that. So that is going to eliminate all the hassle out of these corded pipe clamps. So you don't necessarily have to spend $200 on the wireless ones unless you just want to. At this point, I just can't justify that. Shannon's not made of money, and these things work fine for me. So at this point, I don't see any reason to go with the wireless ones. But a lot of you guys really like the wireless stuff, and it is cool. It's handy. But then your little cord keeper clip is just going to go right around there and keep all that stuff bundled up. And you can see how nice that keeps that. It is extremely hard to do with one hand, but it is basically just like a little ratchet. There's kind of like little teeth on there, and you can hear when you clip that in. And then there's just 2 buttons right here. You push on those buttons and that thing comes back open out of there. So that is really going to keep all the mess out of these things and make them a lot easier to deal with. Hey, let's see if both sides are the same. Let's open them up and see what we got up there. Oh, look at that. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. And look at those pipe clamps. Oh, perfect. 87.4. Now keep in mind, the reason why I'm different here is because this little bead is sensing the outdoor ambient. That is made to sense air temperature. Okay, these pipe clamps are not. You cannot lay one of these pipe clamps down or clip it onto the side of the condenser and expect to get an outdoor ambient if you're trying to do that. These are made to attach to a pipe and get connection down there on that metal plate and give you the temperature of a pipe. So these are never going to read accurately in outdoor ambient air. Keep that in mind. And also keep in mind, that these are always going to read slightly different than a bead type. That is the thing about a K-type thermocouple, and I've also discussed that in some videos. The clamps are going to read slightly different than the bead, so you can't put that bead in an ice bath and calibrate that to 32 degrees and then just dial these in to 32 degrees and expect everything to be right. You can't do that. These are going to be slightly off, and I find that they are usually 1 to 1.5 degrees different than the bead type. So you've always got to calibrate each individual clamp. If you're using one of these clamps on another type of a digital thermometer where you plug it in and you're not using the S-Mans, you're still going to have to do that. These are not going to be the same temperature as a bead. So if you calibrate that bead to 32 degrees, you cannot expect this to be 32 degrees. You're going to have to calibrate your instrument to this clamp, or vice versa, however you want to look at that. But those are my favorite pipe clamps by far. That's the TC24s. When Fieldpiece redid those into that yellow plastic, man, these things are nice. They're tough. That's what I've used my whole entire career, way back to the blue ones that Fieldpiece used to have. I had one blue one that lasted me for like 10 years, and that thing finally broke on me. But those are really nice clamps, whether you're using this setup with these S-Mans or not. If you're just looking for a good pipe clamp that's going to last you, you put that in some sort of a digital thermometer. Doesn't have to be anything expensive or fancy. It doesn't have to be a Fluke or anything like that. Fieldpiece makes a nice one that has two different, it's a dual instrument, so you can have two pipe clamps. You can have a pipe clamp and a bead, however you want to do it. Just make sure you calibrate it. Whatever you do, just calibrate it. This is all about being accurate. We cannot go out there all freaking willy-nilly and, you know, shooting refrigerant into these things if we don't know that we're accurate on our temperatures and our pressures. Other than that, all you need to do is this right here. Store your cords like this. Whether it's these manifolds, whether you're keeping this thing in some kind of a little bag or whatever, coil it up in this kind of shape, about the size of a Coke can or, you know, a baseball. Coil it up like that. Get you a little clip like this. Those things, you know, cost pennies, man. That's like $1 for something like that. And then you are going to have those things real nice and stored away there for you. And they are going to stay that way. So that is a good way to take care of these things and store them and eliminate all that hassle. And you guys saw how that comes out and then just goes right back into place. It will always stay that way if you take care of it, and it's going to last you a long time. You know, you're not going to be out here buying a new clamp every year because that cord breaks and you get a short in it. So anyway, guys, if you want to look those up, there they are again. Found those out at Home Depot, and that is the cable Clic. If it'll focus on it there. Two sizes. Both of them are very small, but the very smallest one is all you need for these. If you have some other type of cables or something that you want to store with these, a bundle of wire ties, snap these around it. These have all kinds of uses. I bought a bunch of those. So anyway, you can head out to Home Depot, look up some of those, and keep everything nice and neat and stored away on your big fancy gauges. And shout out to Fieldpiece. So far, I am really loving these. You guys are always asking in the chats, what's the best ones to use? Everybody goes back and forth, you know, Testo, Fieldpiece, whatever. I know a lot of guys, you know, they prefer one brand or the other, but I have to say, just from using these things, these are incredible. This manifold block is heavy duty. They improved the sight glass from the old ones, so you can see down in there. You can see your refrigerant when you're trickling that 410A through, and you don't want to sludge that compressor down. You can just trickle it a little bit at a time. That sight glass is really clear. You can see down in there good. Really like the knobs on these things. I really like all the different options. I mean, you can hook stuff up to these wirelessly. You can have the wireless probes in there in the return and the supply, and then bring them up on here. And you know, like I said, I'm not that fancy yet, don't have all that kind of stuff, but for you guys that do, you know how convenient that is. Leave some comments down below there for the other guys. Let them know how you like that, what experience you've had with the wireless probes, hooking up to these and getting all your measurements. You can do the view right here, and your target superheat will show up there on the top. I have a set wet bulb of 60 in there, and then my bead type probe is always going to give me my outdoor, and then it's going to calculate what my wet bulb should be. So when I'm working on a system with an orifice, some of those old R22s, I can get a real quick check of what I should be, because I can pretty much guess inside of the house by the temperature and everything. I also have a psychrometer that I take in and do that, but just for a roundabout measurement, I keep 60 logged into here. So I know what I'm going to be at, say 62 or 58, because usually when you're at a house and a system is operating, you're going to be somewhere between 58 and 62 on your wet bulb. It's only when you come up to a house and, you know, it's 80 some degrees inside the house and you're full of humidity, your wet bulb's going to be real high. You know, then you might be up in, you know, 66 or 68 on your wet bulb. So anyway, I can see my target superheat there, and then also you can get a T1, T2, and that is the difference between these two clamps. So just eyeballing, you can see my clamps are balls on. Those things are dead on the money, because it's showing me 0 differential between them. So anyway, that's pretty cool. So far, I have to say, loving the Fieldpiece manifolds. This is the 380v. You also have the 480v with your larger 3/8 vacuum port over there. And then if you want to keep your cords wrangled up and in shape, get you some clips, stick them on there. All right, you guys, if you have any questions for me, leave that in the comments below. Like and subscribe and all that good stuff. And as always, I appreciate you watching my little video, and I will catch you next time.